guys, autofanatic. This is going to be a pretty cool video. We're going to do a full foam wash and a quick strip down wash of the 1957 Chevy Bel convertible. This is going to be a completely different process, and you'll notice if you guys will watch my channel and see the way I wash, newer cars, the technique is going to be completely different because this car is 61 years old. It was restored about 30 years ago. The paint is single stage lacquer, so there's a lot of precautionary measures you need to take, and I'm going to show you every single step that I take, no matter what vintage car you're working on. I don't care if it's a vintage Porsche, a Lamborghini, a Chevy, a Ford, it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of precautions you guys got to take so you don't run into issues. And if you're like a mobile detailer or someone that just never got a job to do a classic car before, I hope some of these tips will help you out, because I've been doing this stuff since I'm 7 years old. My first car that I washed from the 50s was my dad's 1952 Packard, and like I said, you learn a lot growing up being around these cars and restoring them and building them and everything in between, because they're not perfect, but you have to understand what you're working with, otherwise you're going to run into a jam. So everything we're going to use today is on the table. I got my Malco Red Thunder, and I got a couple of dilution ratios of that. I have it in my Griot's Pump Up Foamer and in my Solo Sprayer. We're going to use that for the convertible top and the white walls to get that scrubbed down. The white walls are brand new in this car, but they are scuffed up from getting it towed down to here. We're going to be using the Griot's Foaming Surface Wash. We're only going to be using the 40-degree nozzle on the MTM trigger gun. And we have some 3M masking body shop tape here. We got some PFM towels, and then we have a Chemical Guys drying towel. And I'm going to explain to you when I dry the vehicle why I'm not using the PFM on this particular car. We have a tire scrubbing brush here. This is the one that I really like. It's got the curvature on white walls. This thing is awesome. This is what I've been using for about 15 years. We have the microfiber tendril mitt, because I'm going to use the mop and I'm going to follow up on the bumpers and some of the trim with the mitt. Now, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because this car has so much trim that the towels, the PFM, the thick PFM towels get snagged, and it causes the towel to get caught, and you could actually rip a very expensive or irreplaceable piece of trim off a car. So I liked on a vintage car, and that's why I still have these towels and I use them, because I have, my other cars, is that I want a thinner nap. I don't want that thick, shaggy car, towel, because of the trim, and it's just all sharp edges throughout the cars. You got to be careful as you dragging the towel across. So got some detailing brushes. I'm going to use this to try to get some of the stains out of the convertible top, even though the top was been put on about 5 years ago. Got another scrub brush here, just nylon bristles, shorthand brush, and we're going to blow dry it off, of course. We're going to use the Ego blower, and then we're going to follow up with my 007 gloss enhancer, and I'll send you guys a private video showing this product and how it's used. The video is just a rough cut, but if you guys want to see it, I'll send it off to you, and a lot of guys are pretty impressed with it. This stuff is incredible. This is my new product that I came out with, new drying aid. It's just incredible. We're going to use the MTM PF22 as always, and what I ended up doing, I bought an extra bottle from MTM Hydro North America, and I have one bottle with the surface wash and one bottle with the polygloss, so I could just toggle in between, and it just makes it a lot easier because the Griot's bottles were not fitting very well. So let me just get the camera off the tripod, and I'm going to show you some important things before you get started on working on a vintage car. Right, guys, I got the camera in my hand, and before you get started working, whether you're going to detail a car or do any kind of work under the hood, you have to always use wheel chocks. You see that right there? You got to chock one of the front wheels, and then I have these recycled rubber parking curbs, and I throw one on the back wheel. This is mandatory because vintage cars have very iffy parking brakes, and the last thing you want is a 5,000-pound boat to roll down your driveway and get destroyed. So that's number one. Always have the car secured. Make sure it's in park. A lot of times the automatic transmission selectors, they pop out, they just don't positively engage, and the parking brakes don't always work. So as a precautionary measure, I always chock one front wheel and one rear wheel. Now, moving over to the car, I wanted to show you guys, like I was talking about, there's all this chrome and trim everywhere. And this is where you got to be careful with your towels and your mitt and everything in between, because a lot of this trim, some of it's fallen off, which I have to fix, but it's got sharp corners, and it will just totally destroy and rip your towel and your mitt. Now, one of the most important things working on a classic car that you need to understand, they all leak water. They leaked water when they were manufactured new. 60 plus years later, they're still going to leak water, probably even worse. That's because that's just by design. Now I'm going to show you here, this is the little vent window, and over here, if the camera could get that, you could see right into the car because the weather stripping and the way this is designed is so poor. So we're going to use a 3M body shop tape, the green tape, and we're going to mask this all out to eliminate making the inside of this car into a swamp. Same thing up here. We're going to throw some tape up here throughout the back all the way around, and we're going to do that on both sides, and that is going to eliminate the chances of flooding out the interior of a car, and then you're going to have to pull the interior, and it's, trust me, it's not fun. Same thing too on the back of these cars. The weather stripping tends to not work very well, but what I usually do, if the car has decent trunk panel gaps, I don't really show that much of a concern. But if you have a very large gap in the rear by the sail panel, you have to be careful. You want to be careful where you're pressurizing the water. You don't want to spend too much time here. You don't want to spend too much time by this area here. You want to pretty much go down and try to eliminate saturating this area. So we're going to use the Kranza 1322. And I'm actually going to knock the pressure down significantly. I don't want to use 1300 PSI. This is single stage paint. This is painted over 30 years ago. This is lacquer. You have to be very, very careful. You can't go too close to the paint because these cars have bodywork. A lot of times over the years, the bodywork gets brittle, it shrinks, it cracks. That's just the nature of a restoration. So you want to take take every precaution you can. You don't want to make mistakes. This is not going to take 30 minutes. This entire wash is probably going to be about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes, but I'm going to condense the video and show you guys some of the quick details of how I go about doing it. We're going to get the car masked up right now, and I'm going to show you guys how it looks when it's all masked up. Just got the car masked out with the 3M body shop tape, so I just wanted to show you. You don't have to go super neat. This is just preventative measures. So when you're hosing the car off and doing your wash, you're not going to flood the interior because, like I said, this is a convertible. They are all going to leak. Trust me on that. I don't care how good of a restoration it is or who worked in the car. You cannot change the engineering from the 1950s on these cars. And then we go over here, same thing. So we got the car all masked up. Everything's prepped. Car's got the wheel chocks on it, like I showed you. We're going to get set up right now, and we're going to do a foam bath. We're going to do a little bit of a contact wash. I got my 2 buckets here. We got the brand new microfiber pad on my modified wash mop kit. We have a separate bucket there we're going to use to do the white wall cleaning and the convertible top cleaning. And stay tuned. You're going to see this wash from start to finish in condensed version. All right, guys, I got the pressure washer set up where I knocked the PSI from 1300 down to 800. We got my solo sprayer with some Malco Red Thunder 50/50. That just seems to work well on white walls. Just going to give it a little bit of a shot right here. And the solo sprayers are outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. If you guys don't have one, I don't know what you're waiting for. It'll be the best 20 bucks you ever spend. So we're going to use my awesome Detailer's Choice tire brush. And a lot of guys like to use Wesley's Bleach White on white walls. And yes, it works, but you know what? It actually turns the white walls yellow if you don't repeatedly use it, and I just don't like it. It's one of those things. These tires were over $1,100 that were put on this car recently. So we're gonna kick back. That's it. So we're gonna repeat this process on the remaining 3 tires. We're over at the back tire over here, and being that this has skirts, I'm not inclined to take the skirts off right now because they become a huge bitch to get them back on, as you guys can see. You see that right there? It's just an old mechanism, and I'm going to do my best just to clean the areas that were strapped down from the tow truck yesterday. That's it. So let's loop around to the other 2 wheels. We're back on the other passenger side rear wheel. And you can just see the atomization with the solo sprayer. This thing is the best 20 bucks you're going to spend. Trust me. And this is why I love this tire brush so much, is because of the shape of it. I think it might be the only one that I've come across that has the curved shape. And I was introduced to this brush back in about 2008 by Coker Tire. and I've been using it ever since. And you can probably hear how much softer this is now because I knocked the pressure down almost 50%. Now we're at the last tire here to clean. This one actually has a lot of scuffs and stuff from being strapped down on the tow truck. So we're going to spend a little bit more time with a little bit more product. And like I said, the Malco Red Thunder, it's like 19 bucks a gallon. It's cheap. You could dilute it any which way. I've been using it for over 25 years. And it just takes those scuffs right out of the white wall. And the cool thing is, this car doesn't have disc brakes, so we don't need wheel cleaner, really, because there's no brake dust on the hubcaps. And that's it. Like new. Alright guys, I'm going to get set up and we're going to start the foam wash in about a minute. Alright guys, so we just finished cleaning the white wall tires. You guys could see the convertible top is pretty damn dirty from being in the restoration shop. This is a new top, but it looks like hell. We're going to still use the Solo sprayer with the Malco Red Thunder mix that we used on the white walls. And we're going to saturate it, like I'm showing you here. And we're just going to let that sit for a little while. And we're going to go over it with this, and then I have firmer, smaller detailing brushes in my pocket. And you guys could see what the tape is already helping by not getting this solution inside the car. And you guys could probably see that this is working pretty darn good. I already told the customer that I might be able to resurrect and save this convertible top. And this car is going to need a serious paint correction, so I'm not going crazy, worried about anything. You can see how dirty it is right there. I mean, look at this. And the Red Thunder just takes it right off. You don't need to go buy a specific convertible top cleaner. This is what we've been using for a long time. And it's mild. It's a lot milder than using Super Clean. And that's why I still use it. So I got some of my finer detail brushes here. We're gonna try to get in there a little more concentrated onto the welting. And you guys could probably see it in the camera, all the dirt that's coming off this convertible top right now. And you always want to keep the convertible top saturated as you do it. Don't worry about wasting the solution. You just want to eliminate friction best you can when you're doing this, because you never know how old the top could be, and you could put a nice gash in it. These brushes are great. I got a set of these. If I found these on Amazon, I'll put a link in the video description below. So here we go. Let me get the lance onto the power washer. And like I said, I'm in no rush doing this. This is taking me a while, but I don't care because I enjoy it. And you guys can probably see some of the dirt coming off this car. So the Griot's foaming surface wash is going to do its job real soon. And this is why you got to tape up the windows, guys. And the tape comes off in a matter of seconds, so don't stress that out. You're not going to need any adhesive remover or anything like that. All right, guys, we're just getting the two wash buckets ready. Got the rinse bucket here, got the wash bucket here. We got about 4 ounces of the Griot's foaming surface wash in this one. And we're using the Meguiar's grit guards. You guys can see the way I tandemly join the 2 buckets together. Just makes the job go so much easier, especially when you're working with a big boat like I'm working on right now. So guys, I went around the car a few times foaming it. The initial foam, I wanted to get all the dust and crap that's on the paint, the rough stuff. Then it starts breaking it up and I keep chasing it around the car and it kind of makes it all come off. You guys could see, you know, there's a lot of crap that came off this car. And I know there's a lot of skeptics about the Griot's surface wash, but you could see that looks like definitely restoration dust from a shop. All on the driveway. You see it all over the car. It's coming off the entire car. You can even see down here, guys. Look at that. Look at it dripping right from there. So the Griot's foaming surface wash, I feel, is the best foaming wash you're going to get without being a complete strip wash. So we're going to grab the bucket now and we're going to go around the car and do the contact wash. All right, guys. We start at the roof always. And with the modified Griot's Garage Wash Mop Kit, you're not going to do this unless you have a ladder or basketball player arms. Just go this way. And this is just to give it a good once over because we already cleaned the top. That's the first step. We're going to go into the rinse bucket. Go back in here. Now we're going to do the windshield and the hood. And like I said, it makes this job effortless by having this microfiber mitt on this pole. My God. I remember when I first started using this on my 55 T-Bird, it just made cleaning it a lot easier many years ago. Bucket. Now we're going to bring the buckets to the other side. And like I show you, with little or no effort, you join the 2 buckets together and just get the job done. My camera lady is going to get a close-up of all the crap that's coming off this car. You guys see it there. All Alright, now we're off to the infamous 1957 fins. And we're going to be detailing all the stainless trim, and I'll show you guys on my channel soon. That's just a massive amount of work, but we got to start somewhere so I can assess this car and do an appraisal and discuss with the owner how far he wants to go. Trunk. I mean, as big as this car is, you know, people think it's massive or it's bigger than a modern car, but theoretically it's really not. I mean, my Shelby is probably definitely wider than this car in a lot of ways. Okay. And then what I do to get into certain areas, I'll just use my hand with the mitt like that. We'll go over to the other side like that. Okay, so we're done pretty much with the wash mop right now. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to get on my Griot's Garage creeper seat with the microfiber mitt. I'm going to do all the chrome bumpers. Then we're going to do a final rinse and get this dried for you. All right, so by hand, I'm sitting on my creeper seat, and we're going to carefully go over all of the chrome and all the fine detail work, such as the headlights, the bezels, all the trim, and and these are spots that you won't be able to get with the wash mop, so you got to do this by hand, but it's enjoyable. This is fun. I'm actually really enjoying this right now. To me, even though it's 90 degrees and 90% humidity, it's actually therapeutic. And just nice and easy. Don't put a lot of pressure, because if you snag these emblems, you'll run into a problem. If you pop them off the paint, there's a good chance it's going to take a chip of paint off with it. So you got to go really careful. Right. Let's go over to the end. Up here. See, this is what we don't get on new cars today, guys. Is chrome, and a lot of it. This is where my Glip Tone polish really would come in handy. On this bumper, this is where the exhaust is coming out. This is where you're going to get a lot of carbon buildup back here. You want to make sure you get that, because the carbon sits on the chrome and eventually causes pitting. And that's why a lot of back bumpers on 50s cars are all rotted away and pitted. It's because nobody went back there 60 years ago to clean them. And I'm documenting everything we do to this car, and I do this car to show the customer, because when I get a project like this, I am the caretaker of the car, and I treat this car as if it was my own. And that's the way a lot of people should treat their cars, or customers' cars, as if their own. And you'll end up doing a better job, you know, having that kind of work ethic. Always to take extra care as if it was your own, because something like this is not very easily replaced. Continental kit. That's that. Let me get in over here. I want to show you guys. This is how you disengage the spare tire. This is an actual original spare tire on this car. I would never put it on the car for a flat, but it's kind of cool that this particular car still has an original spare from the 50s sitting in the back. I'm going to leave that open because we're going to get back there and rinse. So that's pretty much the entire foam wash from start to finish. Now we're going to go through the rinse down and the drying process. All right, guys, now we're getting ready to rinse down. I got the camera on my head. Nice and gentle. want to always go down. See, the tape is already starting to come up. Always want to get back here. Got the spare. Okay guys, so that is washed. Okay, now I'm going to pop the hood. I want to use my Griot's pump up foamer, and I want to start hitting all of this in here just to get it. It's not greasy, it's just dusty. So what I did in the Griot's pump up foamer, I have 4 ounces of the Griot's Polygloss and 4 ounces of the Malco Red Thunder. Because using a degreaser on matte black paint like this on the engine compartments, if it dries, or if you don't get a full rinse, it'll kind of make it all nasty. So the Polygloss or any kind of slick polymer additive to your mix will significantly reduce the chances of that happening. And we're just going to gently get it in here. We're not going to go too crazy because the radiator, there's a lot of junk in there. And these handheld units are good for doing stuff like this. I mean, I don't like it to do like a full wash. It's just too time consuming. And you guys could see it there. But I most likely have to respray the engine, air cleaner, you know, do all the fine details. So this is just to get a little bit of a head start on cleaning this up in here. So here we go, guys. We're just going to rinse this down now, just to give it a little bit of a deeper clean. And you guys, you probably can't see it. I'm going to try to zoom in. It is, you can see all the dirt, and there's drain holes in the core support. All the dirt's coming out. That's it, guys. Now we're going to blow dry the engine bay with the Ego blower. Alright guys, we're going to just blow dry most of the car off, then I'm going to hit it with the autofanatic 007 and go through a drying process, and we're going to call it a day. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to hit the car with the 007 and the drying towel, and I'll turn the camera back on in a few minutes. Alright guys, so we got the 007 gloss enhancer, and we're just going to spray the panels, and then you're just going to go and wipe. So this is going to give it some protection and enhance the gloss and make the drying process so much easier with the lubrication and everything else. So guys, I'm going to just finish up the rest of the car. I'll show you the car when it's all done in about 10 minutes. Guys, we're pretty much finished up with the full wash on the 57 Chevy Bel. I just want to show you guys something. I took all the tape off, and I just want to show you that even with the prevention of the tape, we still have a little bit of water here and a little bit here. That just shows you how poorly sealed these cars were from the beginning. So I hope you guys got a couple of tips on how to deal with a classic car. First order safety, make sure you got 2 chocks on both wheels. Always tape up around the weather stripping and around the windows. Knock down the pressure on your power washer, and just take your time. And also, most important, with all the trim on these cars, use a thinner drying towel. Don't use a thick one. I like this Orange Chemical Guys drying towel for all my classic cars. Been using it for a really, really long time, and you guys can see the car looks fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So tomorrow I'm going to do an appraisal on the car and send it to the owner, and we're going to discuss the next steps as far as how far he wants to go with trim restoration and all the detail work, and then to get this car listed for sale and find it a new home. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely something different. I really enjoy doing this stuff. I love classic cars. It's a huge passion of mine, and I don't consider this work. This is just having fun. See you guys soon. autofanatic@yahoo.com. Stay tuned to my Instagram feed for any kind of updates. Go over to my website, autofanatic.com. I'll post a link below, and check back soon. There's going to be some stories on this in the lifestyle section, and the e-commerce store is going to be open very soon, right after Labor Day. Take care and have a good evening.